Welcome to this very special explainer. Today we're doing something incredibly fun and actually kind of different. We've got this totally unique double feature lined up for you. We're going to bridge the massive gap between ancient paleontology and the absolute bleeding edge of modern AI tech. So we'll start our journey millions of years in the past, hunting the absolute most fearsome predator to ever swim the oceans. And then we're going to slingshot right back to the present digital frontier to learn how to literally create synthetic human voices out of thin air. It's a wild ride for sure, so get comfortable.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, the Megalodon's true name. Second, fact-checking the movie The Meg. Third, Megalodon extinction evidence. And fourth, we'll pivot to creating Sinhala AI voices.
Part 1. The Megalodon's true name.
So, for the longest time, you've probably heard this shark referred to as Carcharodontes megalodon. Going all the way back to 1835, scientists pretty much placed the megalodon in the exact same lineage as the modern great white shark. But, science is always learning. New evidence from fossilized teeth and jaw structures has literally rewritten this whole story. Today, researchers classify it as Otodus megalodon. This officially moves the shark away from the great white's direct lineage and places it firmly in the extinct Otodontidae family. That's a lineage that actually started over 55 million years ago with a completely different shark called Otodus obliquus.
And that brings us to the number 18. 18 meters. That is the absolute maximum length of the megalodon based on the size of their fossilized teeth. I really want to emphasize that because pop culture loves to inflate this animal to the size of a nuclear submarine. But 18 meters? That is the extreme upper limit. In reality, your average megalodon was actually closer to 10 meters long. Now, hey, don't get me wrong, 10 meters still makes them absolutely massive, literally almost double the size of an average great white. But they weren't quite the mythical ocean-spanning leviathans we're used to seeing on the big screen.
Which leads us to part 2, fact-checking the Meg.
And this brilliantly illustrates the difference. In the movie, the sharks reach sizes of 20 to 25 meters long, making them nearly as large as the longest known blue whales. The reality, as we just saw, is an 18-meter maximum and a 10-meter average. It's just a great reminder that Hollywood will always stretch the truth, literally, just to make the monster a little more terrifying for all of us in the audience.
But you know what? The movie didn't get absolutely everything wrong. Paleobiologists have actually pointed out that the on-screen megalodon correctly features 6 gills, which is spot on for sharks, and the dorsal fin is appropriately modeled right after the great white. The film even accurately included claspers on the underbelly of male sharks, which they used during mating. However, the whole premise of the film is that these sharks survived for millions of years trapped in a dark deep-sea trench. If that were actually true, they would have evolved completely different anatomical features. I mean, they wouldn't look like surface sharks anymore. We would expect to see adaptations like massively enlarged eyes to capture faint light, or, honestly, perhaps they'd be entirely blind. We'd also likely see dwarfism, where the species shrinks in size because of geographic isolation and totally limited resources. But, well, the movie kind of skipped those less than glamorous evolutionary realities.
All right, part 3, Megalodon extinction evidence.
It's a really fascinating, provocative question, isn't it? Could the megalodon still be out there, just hiding in the Mariana Trench or the abyssal depths, totally out of sight from humanity? It's the central premise of so much science fiction. But let's look at the actual science fact.
So, the crucial point is this. The deep ocean simply cannot support an energetic, massive predator like the megalodon. First off, there just isn't enough food. While deep-sea hydrothermal vents do have life, they don't have anywhere near the biomass required to sustain giant sharks. You need an unbelievable abundance of massive prey, like giant squid, just to keep one megalodon fed. Second, the temperatures down there are literally freezing. Sharks that do live in the deep ocean, like the Greenland shark, they survive because they have incredibly low metabolic rates, meaning they move very, very slowly. A fast-moving, warm-water apex predator simply couldn't survive in that freezing, food-scarce environment. No way!
If we look at the timeline of the megalodon, the fossil record paints a very clear picture of where they actually like to live. Their lineage began about 55 million years ago, and between 14 and 2.6 million years ago, the megalodon truly ruled the globe. But they didn't rule the deep trenches. They preferred warm, shallow coastal waters, which they used as nursery grounds for their young. The absolute latest they could have possibly survived before going extinct, based on ocean cooling and the loss of those coastal habitats, is about 1.5 million years ago.
I absolutely love this quote from Mike at Everything Dinosaur. He says, "The name changes, but the legend remains. Fossilized teeth of this giant shark inspire fear and awe. They remind us that there was a time when the oceans of the world were ruled by this enormous shark. It is so true. Even if they aren't 25-meter deep-sea monsters, the reality of what they actually were is still utterly awe-inspiring.
And if you need absolute, undeniable proof that they are gone, well, look no further than their teeth. A single megalodon shed up to 20,000 teeth in its lifetime. That's insane. The ocean floor is literally littered with them. If megalodons were still swimming around today, even in the deep ocean, we would absolutely be finding fresh teeth washing up or being pulled up in deep-sea trawls. But we don't. The only ones we find are fossilized in stone, and that is exactly how we know for sure they belong to the history books.
Okay, moving on to part 4, creating Sinhala AI voices.
Let's move to and see how this builds into our next topic. We are stepping into the digital frontier for a highly practical skill. This is a guide on how to use modern AI to turn text into incredibly realistic, human-sounding Sinhala voiceovers. And honestly, the best part, the tools we're looking at today are completely free. If you're making YouTube videos, cartoons, or presentations, this tech is an absolute game-changer for digital creators.
Here is the incredibly simple 3-step process. First, you need to get your text ready using an app like Karoo to get it properly formatted. Step 2, you copy that text, specifically in Unicode format, and paste it right into your web-based AI voice generator tool. And step 3, this is the fun part. You select the voice character you want, adjust the vibe or tone, and hit Generate. Literally in seconds, the AI synthesizes a spoken audio file for you.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the Karoo hack. If you don't have a specialized keyboard, or you just don't know how to type directly in Sinhala script on a computer, there is a brilliant workaround. You can simply use the Unicode font feature in Karoo and type in Singlish, which basically means typing out Sinhala words phonetically using standard English letters. The tool automatically converts your Singlish into perfect Sinhala Unicode script, which the AI needs to read the text properly. It completely removes the technical barrier.
Once your text is in the system, the customization is where the magic really happens. You aren't just getting a robotic drone. You can choose from multiple distinct character voices. You can also adjust the vibe of the speech, meaning you can make the delivery sound excited, serious, or super casual. You can preview this highly realistic human-like audio in real time. And when you change the vibe, the whole delivery and inflection changes to match it, making it sound almost indistinguishable from a real human recording. Once you're happy, you just click the download icon and grab your audio file for free. It's amazing.
Think about the journey we just took. We started by looking at how science uses fossilized teeth pulled from the dirt to reconstruct the life, the lineage, and the extinction of a 55-million-year-old apex predator. Then, we jumped to using internet browsers to synthesize realistic human voices out of pure code in a matter of seconds. It really makes you step back and wonder, with human curiosity driving our science and artificial intelligence accelerating our capabilities at this speed, what on earth will technology allow us to discover or create next? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next one.